This is the final day of ACT review, so tomorrow you'll be taking the ACT. You're going to need a calculator today, and you want to make sure it is set to degree mode. Remember, if you need a reminder, you're going to press mode, down twice, right once. You want it to be on degree. You'll hit enter. Degree will then be highlighted, and then you can press clear to use your calculator. You'll have 8 minutes to work on the following problems today. Please don't start until you're told to start, and when you're finished, just kind of wait quietly, and then we'll go over all the answers. The first problem says there are 12 red candies, 8 pink candies, and 15 white candies in a bowl. What is the probability of selecting a red candy, then a white candy from the bowl? So we know that there are 12 red. We also need to know how many total. So total number of candies in the bowl, I've got 12 red, 8 pink, 15 white. So I want to add those all together. And when I add them together, I figure out that there are 35 candies in the bowl. So the probability of me picking red is 12 out of 35. Then you have to think, I've taken one candy out of the bowl, so my new total is 34. And the second time they say, what's the probability of taking a white candy? So there are 15 white. Right away, you should be able to eliminate most of your answer choices, like A, because this total here should be 34 and it's not. So we're going to go ahead and eliminate that choice. B is a potential option. C is not because both the totals are wrong. D could be a potential option because it's got the correct fractions. And again, E is not a choice because the answers are wrong. So the next thing we need to do is we need to think about, is this a problem we should be multiplying or adding together? And just in case you don't remember, we want to know if we pick red and then white. The word and in probability means to multiply. If it said what's the probability of picking red or white, that would tell us to add. So we are going to choose B. This example says the florist has 6 fewer teddy bears than twice as many ceramic heart figures, which is an expression for teddy bears with respect to heart figures H. So basically we're saying teddy bears equals what? And we're trying to write an equation. So again, if we read 6 fewer teddy bears. Okay, 6 fewer sounds like subtract. Fewer than would be the subtraction. We want to put the subtraction on the end. It says twice as many ceramic heart figures, and they want us to use H for hearts. So twice as many ceramic heart figures. So 2H. So that would be E. The next example says, what is the slope of the line perpendicular to 4x minus 5y equals 12? The first thing we want is we want this to be in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So we need to solve for y first. So we're going to do that by subtracting 4x from both sides. That would cancel these. We have negative 5y equals negative 4x plus 12. I cannot combine the 12 and the 4x because they're not like terms, so they're just going to sit next to each other. And I put the negative 4x out in front because the mx is typically out in front. I'm going to divide by negative 5, and when I divide, I want to divide every single thing by negative 5. So these negative 5's cancel. I get y equals. A negative over a negative is really positive. And we like to leave our slope as a fraction, so go ahead and just leave it as 4/5. The next part, I have a positive over a negative, that's negative, and I have 12 over 5. Again, go ahead and just leave it as a fraction, that's not a big deal. The slope of this line we just figured out is 4/5. The problem says what's perpendicular to that. So what you need to remember about slopes is parallel slopes are the exact same. So if it asks for a parallel, I would want to say, oh, 4/5, because I want them to be the exact same. However, perpendicular slopes are opposite reciprocals. And what that means is they're going to switch and flip. So if I have 4/5, I want to switch the sign. So this one's positive, my new one's going to be negative. And I want to flip the fraction. So instead of 4/5, it's 5/4. And so if you look, that's answer option B. This next problem says Sophie helped her little sister make a rectangular Valentine's Day box that is 10 inches long, 5 inches wide, and 3 inches tall. What is the volume of this box in cubic inches? Remember, volume for a rectangular prism is going to be length times width times height. So we will do 10 times 5 times 3, and that will get us 150. So D. This next problem says simplify, and then it gives us this expression. Just some things to remember. B cubed means B times B times B. So same thing. C to the 7th means C times C times C times C 7 times. So you could kind of rewrite this, and we'll write it out just so you can see what's happening. So I have 3 B's on top, 1 A, 7 C's. On the bottom, I have 2 A's, 1 B, 4 C's. And then you can look at what will cancel out. So one of these A's will cancel, 1 B, and 4 C's. And then what you're left with is 2 B's on top, 3 C's on top, and 1 A on the bottom, which can be rewritten as B squared times C to the 3rd over A. And if you go over to your answer options, that would be C. The next example says Mrs. Simpson asked her algebra class which color conversation heart is his or her favorite. The options are pink, yellow, white, and purple. The responses of the 24 students are given below. Our total is going to be 24, so that's important. What fraction of the students responded with purple as their favorite? So we have 7 people that said purple, 24 students, 7 out of 24. A. The next example says, if f of x equals x squared minus 2x plus 3, what is f evaluated at -1? Again, this means here, plug this in for x. So when we plug it in, make sure you put it in parentheses. That's really important. And then just type this into your calculator. When you type it into your calculator, you should get 6, which is E. Our last example says Tara bought a round 18-inch diameter cookie decorated with red and pink icing to share with her homeroom class on Valentine's Day. What is the area of the round cookie? Just to have a little picture for you, remember diameter is the distance all the way across, so that's 18. The area formula for a circle is pi r squared. So I need the radius to do this. The radius is half the diameter, so 18 divided by 2 is 9. So my radius is 9. So I'm just plugging that in. I noticed that every answer has pi in it, so we're just going to leave the pi here and do 9 squared, which is 81. And so I would pick D, 81 pi. These are just a few last-minute reminders for the ACT tomorrow. Please do your best and take the test seriously. You get to take this test for free, which is really nice. Even if you're not sure if you want to go to college, there are other people that do, and so this test is very important to them. So if you can just at least be respectful for those people and allow them to do their best, that's great. And you also never know, you might change your mind and decide that college is something you want to do, so you definitely want to do your best on this test. You're reporting directly to your testing room. You need to be there no later than 7:30. If you show up past 7:40, they will make you go to regular classes today, and you will have to make up the ACT at a later date. So be in your room at 7:25 just to be safe. If you need to know where you're testing, you can find the locations posted outside the counseling office, at the entrance to the cafeteria, or outside of the library. Number 4 is really important. You need to bring your Chromebook fully charged to school tomorrow because we are testing the ACT on our Chromebook. So make sure yours is fully charged. Charge it tonight when you get home. 5, leave your phone in your locker or car if possible. If you have to bring it with you, it needs to be in your bag and it needs to be shut off. If your phone goes off, there are huge consequences because this is a nationwide test. This is not just a Findlay High School test. You could invalidate every single person's test score in your room. So again, if you have to bring your phone, you need to have it shut off. 6, make sure that when you start your test tomorrow, your calculator's in degrees. So again, you do that by pressing mode. You go down twice. You go right once. You're going to press enter so that degrees is highlighted. And then you hit clear and you can use your calculator. Number 7, you want to answer every single question, even if you have to guess. It's in your best interest to guess the same letter each time. So maybe every time you don't know, you're just going to pick letter C. So always just pick the same one. 8, if a question is really wordy, just guess. Don't waste your time reading really, really long math problems unless there's a formula. If there's a formula, go ahead and try to just plug in the information they give you. But if it's a really long, wordy question, just guess and do so again by picking the same letter. So maybe you're going to pick C every time. At the 5-minute warning, you want to stop testing and you want to fill in every question you have left. So again, choose the same letter each time. If you finish doing that early, so say that only takes you 3 minutes, then go ahead and go back and start trying to solve the remaining problems, but at least stop and guess because it's in your best interest to guess. And lastly, whoever is in your room proctoring your test, make sure you're listening to them. If they tell you time's up and to stop working, stop working. Just make sure you listen to them at all times.